Welcome to Poolville, New York. Founded in 1792, you can find out more about us at www.poolvilleny.com. Poolville is a residential community in the town of Hamilton, county of Madison, state of New York. There are many grand old homes in Poolville. This one was built by Henry Berry in 1830. He bought pelts from the trappers, tanned them in his tannery, which you can see here, which is now a residence, and then he shipped them down to New York City on the canal. The canal, which ran on the Sangerfield or the Shenango River, it has different names on different maps from early days, goes right through Poolville and goes down to the Susquehanna and eventually to the Chesapeake Bay. This is the headwaters of the Chesapeake Bay. There have been artists who've lived in Poolville. One artist painted this rendition of a mural of what Poolville may have looked like in the mid 1800s. And it's right here on the river, and what a beautiful location. There are many old homes in Poolville, and they're by and large, they're pretty well maintained. And some are small, some are large, but there are a lot of variety. This was the Arlington Tuttle property. They had a house on the river, and they had a guest house right next door. Every community in this part of the country has its own cemetery. This cemetery has burial spots and headstones that go back 200 years. A train once stopped in Poolville, and it hasn't run through here in a couple of decades, but it used to bring milk and cheese and corn and other produce down south. There are many old homes in this part of Poolville. There were once many farms in Poolville, and here is one, the Wyman Farm, which is in the middle of our hamlet. It looks as if the Wyman Farm is going to be closing, so we will continue to have farms, but they will be just on the outskirts of our residential area. Here is the Poolville Community Center. The Community Center is a gathering place for local residents. There's different events that take place there. It is right next to the Wyman Farm and in a very nice residential spot in Poolville. Some people find Poolville to be endearing. A woman who grew up in this spot came back with her husband many years later and built a retreat right on the hill overlooking the Hamlet. It's a lovely spot. About half a mile from the middle of Poolville is a summer home built by a resident, and they have it right down on the river, which a lot of people like to have. Just up the hill from their summer home is another home. And then, of course, there is a barn. Lots of barns in central New York. A feature of all small towns in this part of the country is a village green. And here is our village green in the middle of Poolville. Catty quarter from the village green is the Poolville Country Store restaurant, perhaps the best restaurant for many, many miles around. And next to the restaurant happens to be a church. There were many churches in Poolville. Now there's only one remaining, and it's a United Methodist Church. In the middle of Poolville, we have a cornfield. And not many places can say they have a cornfield in the center of their village, but we have one, and that is the main agricultural product that comes out of central New York. As you can see, Poolville is a residential community, but at one time there were mills that made underwear, hotels, a grist mill, general stores, a meat market, and it was an important hops growing community. The next three pictures are just to show you that it can snow in upstate New York, and sometimes it snows a lot. Thank you for visiting Poolville. We appreciate the time you took to listen.